share with you a moment of remembrance for the storm that's happened on the East Coast. It's our honor to sit together in moments like this, when something has happened, and things are always happening, but when there's a major catastrophe that touches all of us. You see, we're not separate. That's what this power of love is all about. We're not separate. It is over there, and our mind can separate us from it, but our heart pours out. So will you join me in a moment of just remembering? Closing your eyes and centering yourself into your heart as I share words of John O'Donohue for suffering. So to the people, to those that we do not know, but to those that we send our love. May you be blessed in the holy name of those who, without you knowing it, help to carry and lighten your pain. May you know serenity when you are called to enter the house of suffering. May a window of light always surprise you. May you be granted the wisdom to avoid false resistance. When suffering knocks on the door of your life, may you glimpse its eventual gifts. May you be able to receive the fruits of suffering. May memory bless and protect you with the hard-earned light of past travail, to remind you that you have survived before, and though the darkness now is deep, you will soon see approaching light. May the grace of time heal your wounds. May you know that though the storm might rage, not a hair of your head will be harmed. We send this with love. We send this in blessing. We send this in knowing that love prevails, and the power of this love touches all, and so it is. Thank you for joining in that consciousness. I think any moment and any day, at every call, we pause long enough. We pause long enough to look deeply into suffering, to look deeply into pain, to feel, because what we feel is that which is opening the door of our heart, and the door of our heart in this center is always open, always open. And the moments when life situations cause us to shift a little bit out of that, and I'm going to speak to that today. There's moments when we want to be loving, we want to be there, but something closes us. And I want to invite you into that absolute knowing that even though it feels like the door of your heart is cracking shut, that the light prevails, the truth prevails, that the attributes of God are always present. So today is the talk about the power of this love, and it's not a mushy talk, it's not a funny talk, it's a talk about truth. And I have been so impressed by, as I've had the opportunity to speak to you, and I get to go back and re-study a lot of what Ernest Holmes has taught me through a lifetime. And this particular paper that he wrote was on the power of love, and he talks about the three greatest needs that we have, and that's to feel needed, wanted, and loved. And when we are rejected in any way, even from our own self, that's where we start to have suffering. So I will be pointing back to that, because this power of love, we know it, we feel it, we know that it propels us, but sometimes our path gets dark and we feel separate. And we need to recognize today what I hope to share with you are the opportunities to remember what brings us back, and to remember that though we thought we were separate, we never really were. And the yoga tradition speaks to this as bhakti. And bhakti is that devotion, that love that just keeps you coming all the time back to the altar of your own heart. It's that which we know serves us in our devotion to love itself. And bhakti is such a beautiful word and such a beautiful practice in the yoga tradition. The author Ramakrishna talks about it to the householders. He reminds us that the advice to the householders is that bhakti is one of the greatest ways we can serve ourselves and mankind. And he answers that the master was very pleased with the music. He was sitting with a sangha, with a group of disciples, and he was recognizing in just that moment of opening, and we've had that, especially with the beautiful music from the choir today, that so opening to all of us to open our hearts to the truth. Sir, what is the way to realize God? And the master says, bhakti is the one essential thing. Remember, bhakti is devotion and love. To be sure, God exists in all beings. Well, then who then is the devotee? He whose mind dwells on God. But this is not possible as long as one has egotism and vanity. The water of God's grace cannot collect on the high mound of egotism. It runs down. I am a mere machine. And to his devotees, he says, God can be realized through all paths. And I love, this was written in the 1882. So long ago, the same truth has been spoken and carried down to this moment. God can be realized through all paths, all religions. All religions are true. The important thing is to reach the roof. You can reach it by stone stairs, by wooden stairs, by bamboo steps, or by a rope. You can also climb up by a bamboo pole. You may sit there. You may say that there are many errors and superstitions in another religion, and I should reply, suppose there are. Every religion has errors. Everyone thinks that his watch alone gives the correct time. It is enough to have a yearning for God. So you see, it is enough to have the yearning for God. It is enough to love him and feel attracted to him. Don't you know that God is the inner guide? He sees the longing of the heart and the yearning of our soul. Now, to me, that brings great comfort. No matter how many mistakes I make in my egotistical place, my personality, my vanity, no matter how many places I draw error in my ways, I know that God is within me as love, and that is my inner guide. He sees the longing of your heart and the yearning of your soul. Suppose a man has several sons, and the older boys address him distinctly as Baba or Papa, but the babies can be at best call him Ba or Pa. Now, will the father be angry with those who address him in this indistinct way? The father knows they too are calling him, only they cannot pronounce his name well. All children are the same to the Father. Likewise, the devotees call on God alone, though by different names. They call only one person. God is one. His names are many. 1882. 2012. There's no difference. There's only one. There's only one. So right away in that knowing, don't we get the privilege of dropping our judgments, dropping up until now all the ways that we have set ourselves apart from another faith path, from another political party, whatever we have done to separate ourselves. Let us go back to remembering there is only one. And the other opportunity for you, as you continue your spiritual practice and your spiritual knowing, as you come to classes, as you come and meet in community with one another, as you dialogue with each other over a cup of tea, lift up your conversations into that higher good. And as those opportunities are sparked, and they will spark, to encourage you to talk down, to get dirty about what's going on out there in the world, lift it up. It's our privilege to lift it up. It's our way in the world, our way of being, to bring love there. And it's naming that one and recognizing that we have an opportunity here to establish our faith, to anchor ourselves in a faith. We had a lot of fun on Friday night watching the movie that was recommended by Georgia and Jennifer, the salmon fishing in the Yemen. And it was delightful. For those, you can still rent that on not YouTube, but Netflix or however you get your movies. But I thank you, Jennifer, for bringing that movie to our awareness, because it spoke mostly to me about faith and what we can accomplish in our life circumstances, whatever we put our love behind, and truly hold that conviction for a greater good to unfold, it will be. And it was proven time and again within that movie. So I invite those of you that didn't get a chance to celebrate the love of that movie. It's one for your library. So what separates us? Hugh Prather, an author that I reflect upon his writing since I was a teenager, he says, love thy neighbor as thyself does not imply, as I have stated so often, that one must first love oneself. And I've often interpreted it that way. It implies nothing more complicated than the fact that anything else than love is not love. Anything else that is less than love is not love, because love does not exclude anything, it embraces all things. If we don't love someone outside ourselves, then very simply, we do not love ourselves. There is no separation. And those moments can be so quick. And I had read a passage earlier where he was aware when somebody had just come in and said in his presence, what's up? And right away he thought in his mind, you irritate me. You irritate me. And what is that closes us down so quickly? And he had to really follow the hit, the emotion of that, to recognize, oops, my heart's just shutting down on this innocent person here that just came up and said, what's up? And I recognized that when I was doing some teaching this week. I went in ready to teach somebody that just had their heart worked on about what to expect afterwards. And all he wanted to tell me was, could he lift his gun again? And I thought, uh-oh, a hunter. I'm not judging, but being a vegetarian, I've had to listen to a lot of hunting stories, and I have to find this little secret place inside of myself to hold it together and to listen deeply and to understand and to hold love for the animals and all that. Well, this guy didn't know that I was going there, and he didn't give me a chance to get there before he started telling me how he sends his dog into the bushes. And he goes, yeah, those pheasants, they're out there, they're hiding in the bushes, and my dog knows exactly how to get them out of there. And so they fly, they got the most beautiful feathers, and I'm going, oh, God, save me here. And then he goes, and then I just blow their heads off. And I was like, I wanted to tell him, well, you know, you can never hunt again. But I saved myself from that. And I just told him he needed to check in with his doctor, but I was for sure it would be a couple months before. It happens that fast, though. You know, you're just going along your merry way. My heart's open, my heart's open. Judgment. Hunters. I know there's a lot of you hunters out there. You're ready to put a target on me right now ever saying that. It just is. It's just moments of being human. So those are the moments, you see, that's one of mine that just immediately separated me. And I really had to stay with a truth that I was trying to be with, and that was how he could take care of his heart. And I know that even though he was boasting about what he was about to do, he was afraid. You know, that was his joy, that was his love and his passion, and he wanted to get back into life. This direct path, though, that I speak to of love, that I'm trying to, you know, Gandhi says it's a razor's edge. You know, we fall off that path all the time. And it's not about setting up camp and woe is me along the path. It's about getting back on it. And I have been so impressed reading the words of Andrew Harvey, and his work, one of his books, what I would recommend to any of you that is it's called The Direct Path. And he takes his whole journey. I mean, at one time he was a devotee and he was strong on a path with a certain teacher, and that just kind of blew up in his life. And so he's taken his experience as a young man that was English and raised in India. He has an opportunity to know different lifestyles. And he's taken all of that he's learned and put it together in this wonderful book called The Direct Path, and it's Andrew Harvey. But he had this experience of the divine. And I think each and every one of us, sometimes they're glimpses, sometimes they're so, I think that was a God moment, because we're left with joy and love and our heart is wide open. And there's other times where they're so penetrating, they're so intense that we're kind of stumbling our way around because we've been so touched by the divine. And he had this particular moment where he was in his father was Catholic, and he was praying before the sculpture there of the Christ on the cross with his arms extended in a gesture of all-embracing absolute and final love. Wave after wave of divine love invaded me. Nothing in any of the many experiences of the divine I had had up until that moment prepared me for the volcanic ecstasy and passion and sheer frightening force of what streamed to me from the living Christ. Now this is the power of that love that I speak to, that idea of that Christ love. It took all the strength I possessed not to crumble under the fiery intensity of what was being given to me. I gripped the pew in front of me as involuntary sobs of gratitude shook me from head to foot. After the service, I said nothing about what I experienced to anyone, but went quietly with my friends to their car. Then I glimpsed, sitting in the dust at the gate of the church, the most wretched and derelict human being I'd ever seen. A young Indian man, probably in his early 20s, in shredded khaki pants and a disgustingly filthy white shirt with no arms or legs. I'm going to leave it there because I want to come back. You see, something on this story, what impressed me so much is because another author that I was looking at through the week was Jack Kornfield, and his work is A Path with Heart. And he speaks to those moments when we are with our heart and we reach in what the Buddhist path calls the near enemies. Now, some of you that are familiar with the Buddhist path are familiar with the near enemies. The near enemies are those aspects of our way of being that compartmentalize and separate ourselves. They operate in us all the time. They always repeat themselves in our spiritual life. They are qualities that arise in the mind, and they might even masquerade themselves as genuine spiritual revelations. But they separate us from true feelings rather than connecting us all. So they're the moments that separate us instead of allowing you to feel connected. They separate our spirit from emotions, and they deny our feelings. You see, what's important for you to remember is that your feelings are valuable. Your feelings are the words of your soul, are the expression of your soul. They're calling your attention. But these near enemies can separate our spirit from our emotions, deny our feelings, a defense that is so hard to take fully in the heart. They come from fear and separation rather than genuine heartfelt connection, and they can be so subtle. One of these near enemies is called compassion. Compassion is what we want to feel, but the near enemy to that is pity. So oftentimes when we look at that particular scene of the homeless person with the ragged clothes and the no arms and legs, watch yourselves. Is it pity or is it compassion? So we feel pity. We feel sorry for the person over there versus the resonance in our heart that is true compassion with service to others, with the suffering of others. Yes, I too, with you, together with you, share in the sorrows of life. So I go back to his story. See, this is true compassion. Because I was in India, and I experienced the pity. I had compassion as well, but it got blurred. You see, the lines get blurred. But he met this gentleman. I knew that this man could not defend himself or even move without being helped, and who was totally at the mercy of others, was none other than the Christ himself. So remember, he's in this altered, awakened state. I went up to him and gazed into his eyes for a long time, and he gazed back at me with the most gentle, helpless, and resigned look I'd ever seen, full of inexpressible pain and a kind of final dignity. As I put everything I had into his shirt pocket, I heard a voice say within me softly, these are the moments that just melt me. Now you have seen me in everyone. You must serve me in everyone. Now you have seen that I live especially in the poor and the derelict of every kind. You must devote all of your gifts and the rest of your life on earth to working to change the conditions that create misery. Silently, he vowed to the voice within him, I will do as I am asked. 2 days later, when my father was blessing me for the last time with his hand on my head, he said to me, I do not wish you money or fame or even happiness, although I hope and pray God will be good to you and give you all these things. I wish you the constant living presence of the Christ at the heart of your life, now and always. And he goes on to say that that immense meeting with the Christ feeling in that moment, that awakened moment, and that never left him, and that served him, that continues to serve him in his work. So that is the true compassion, not the confusion of pity. So remember, as I speak these words, keep watching for each emotion that might be stirred up inside of you, because it's a message from your soul. And Gary Zukaw, he wrote a wonderful book about this kind of energy that works through us, and I could relate it so much to the flow of energy and chakra work, just moving down us, because if we're open at the top, as Ernest Holmes reminds us to be, truly open at the top, the very crown, where we have the connection to love itself, and it's just, you see, we're receiving it. We're receiving it. It's just pouring right through us, and a door of our heart is open, so we receive and we give, and it's just this fluid source ever flowing through us. And then there's different places in the study of the esoteric study of yoga where we talk about the different areas of, they're called chakras, but the energy work of this. And if the energy gets stuck here at the brow center, all of a sudden we're critical and we're in judgment and we've separated ourselves out. If it gets stuck here, if it gets lodged in the throat area of our body, suddenly our voice is pinched and we squeak and we're angry and we cry and we weep our words because there's not a resonance, there's not a sound of our heart, not a breath behind our word. If it drops down into the heart space and we're closed down, again, we're separate and we're sorry and we're lonely and we're rejected. And it gets into the place of the belly and suddenly we're in a place of worry. We're not in a place of trust and esteem. And as it goes down lower into the other center, suddenly at the second area there, we're suddenly choosing the wrong relationships and we're closing down. And then it gets down to our very root center. And if the energy blocks there, that conduit of love, that power that is ever flowing through us, it gets stuck down low, and then we don't trust even whether we're important to be here on earth itself, and we're afraid. And so it goes to fear and doubt, and we want to get those concepts behind us because what is true is love and trust. And I only have a short few moments more with you here, and I want to tell you the other, what Jack Kornfield brings to our mind, the idea there is sympathetic joy. This is an important heart quality to cultivate, the joy and the happiness of others. You know what the enemy of that is? Comparison, which looks to see if we have more of the same or less. It's very, very subtle. Is mine better than theirs? You know, if somebody's wearing the same outfit, do I look better than them, than they look in theirs? You know, this comparison that can come up and creep. It causes separation when we start to compare things in life. So watch for that one. Another quality of the divine and the power of love, of true love, that source and that power that moves through us is equanimity. Equanimity is a concept that is used a lot in the Buddhist, but it talks in the Buddhist world, but it talks about the indifference, true equanimity, in balance, always in the midst of experiences. the path that takes you off is the indifference. It's withdrawal, not caring based on fear. Watch this one because it's so subtle. It creeps in so quickly, especially as we enter this week where there's been so many politics in our face. And we can say, no more. But we need to stay in a place of equanimity and a place of love and make our decisions based on love, not on meanness or judgment or fear or doubt. But standing true and really allowing it to be a spiritual practice this week as you move through the opportunity to put your voice out there in the world. And running away from life, running away from any situation. In equanimity, the heart is open to touch all things, joy and sorrow. And please know that when you're on your spiritual journey, it doesn't mean that sorrow won't touch your heart. Sorrow will touch your heart. But love is right there, and when you're weeping, eyes closed, and you're huddled in your sorrow, if you open your eyes, we are there for you. That's what it is meaning to you about building the spiritual community. That's what you have plugged yourself into. Let us know if you're in a place of sorrow or suffering, and let us embrace you and lift you, and let our love be the light that draws you out of the suffering. So this is all about the opportunities that we can see before us that ask us, I want to be in a place of love. I do not want one of these subtle forces to deaden my heart in any way. Lord, make me willing. Lord, make me that instrument of love. Let me be the one, that heart wide open, that embraces all the suffering and is able to take that Christ light, that Christ idea of love, that bhakti, that devotion of one, and carry it out into the world now more than ever, now more than ever. And have faith in that. Do it with an open heart and have faith in that knowing. And I close with the treatment that was included in the inspiration of the writing of Ernest Holmes as he prepared this talk on the power of love. So I share that. Please join me in this knowing. I permit love to reach out for me to everyone I meet. I believe that love is returned to me from every person I meet. I shall trust the guidance of this love because I believe it is a power of good in the universe. I feel that love is flowing through me to heal everything I encounter, to help everyone I contact. Love opens the way before me and makes it perfect and straight and immediate. Love forgives everything unlike itself and converts everything that seems commonplace into something that is wonderful, converting weakness into strength, fear into faith. Love is the all-conquering power of the Spirit. As a child walks in confidence with its parents, so I walk in confidence with life. As a child, through love, trusts its parents, so I put my whole trust in that love, which I feel to be everywhere present, within, around, and through me, within, around, and through everyone I meet. I love, I am loved. I belong to the universe in which I live. I am one with it. In joy, in peace, in happiness, it is all good. I claim it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you.